Don't sit there, old woman." She didn't raise her voice. That's what people usually get wrong. She leaned in close enough that I could smell her perfume, something sharp, expensive, the kind that stays in the air even after the person walks away. She smiled toward the guests while she said it, like it was nothing, like it was a small correction, like she was helping me. Her fingers closed around my elbow, not rough, just firm enough to tell me she meant it. For a moment, I honestly didn't know what to do. I was standing right there in the middle of the room, my son's wedding, music playing behind me, chairs scraping against the floor, glasses clinking, someone laughing too loudly somewhere nearby. Everything kept moving, like the world hadn't noticed I'd stopped. I remember thinking, did she really say that? Then maybe I heard her wrong. Then, why is everyone looking at me? That kind of looking. The kind where people see you, but pretend they don't. My face felt warm. My hands felt empty. I didn't know where to put them. I didn't know where I was allowed to stand anymore. I had worn my best dress. It wasn't new, but it was clean. I had ironed it myself the night before. I remember smoothing the fabric and telling myself I looked fine, telling myself I belonged there. Standing there, I felt poor, not just without money, poor like I shouldn't have been seen. And then my legs stopped listening. There was no scream, no big fall, just a strange floating feeling like the floor stepped away from me. And then nothing. When I came back, the light felt wrong, too bright, too white, the kind of white that doesn't belong anywhere you love. It hummed softly, like the room itself was breathing. I tried to move my hand. I thought I did, but nothing happened. It felt like my arm was somewhere else, like it didn't belong to me anymore. Voices came and went. I couldn't catch the words, just pieces. A pause, a sigh, someone clearing their throat. I tried to swallow. My throat burned, dry and sore, like I'd been screaming, even though I knew I hadn't. "Oh," a woman said close, too close. "She's awake, awake." That word stayed with me, as if I hadn't been awake before, as if I hadn't been living. My eyes wouldn't focus properly. Shapes slid past. A curtain, a chair, a plastic cup. Everything felt slightly tilted, like the room hadn't settled yet. My chest felt heavy. Not pain exactly, more like something sitting there that didn't belong. I wanted to ask where I was. I wanted to ask what happened. I wanted to ask if the wedding was over. But my mouth didn't cooperate. "Don't rush her," a man said. Calm voice. Professional. "She's been through a lot, a lot." I stared at the ceiling, trying to understand what a lot meant. The last clear picture I had was still the wedding. The music, the guests, her hand on my arm. My son somewhere nearby, but not close enough. They told me later that I collapsed, that my blood pressure spiked, that the stress was too much for my body, that I slipped into a coma for several days where the world kept going without me. The wedding finished. The guests went home. The pictures were taken. I missed all of it, and no one talked about that part. The first time my son came to see me, I heard him before I saw him. His shoes on the floor, slow steps, careful ones, like he wasn't sure he should come all the way in. "Hi, Mom," he said. I turned my head toward his voice. It felt heavy, like lifting something wet that didn't want to move. "Hi," I whispered. My voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded thinner, older. He stood near the door for a moment, then came closer, hands in his pockets. He looked tired, older than I remembered. Or maybe I just hadn't really looked at him in a long time. "How are you feeling?" he asked. I wanted to tell him the truth. I wanted to say I was confused, that I was embarrassed, that my chest still tightened when I thought about the wedding. I wanted to ask him why he didn't stop her, why he didn't say anything. But I didn't. I said, "I'm all right," because that's what mothers say, even when it isn't true. He smiled a little, not a full smile, just enough to be polite. He glanced at the machines beside me, then back at the floor. "They said you gave everyone a scare," he said. "But you're strong. You always have been strong." That word again. People like calling women strong when they don't know what else to say. He didn't mention the wedding. He didn't mention his wife. He didn't mention what she said to me. And I didn't bring it up either. Not because I didn't want answers. Because something inside me felt careful. Like if I moved the wrong way, something else might break. Before we continue, if this story resonates with you, comment below how it made you feel and where you're watching from. Your support helps stories like this reach more people. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The days in the hospital blurred together. Morning light through the blinds. Evening shadows climbing the walls. Nurses with kind eyes and busy hands. Food trays came and went. I barely touched them. Nothing tasted right. Sometimes I slept. Sometimes I stared. Sometimes I replayed that moment at the wedding over and over, trying to find where I went wrong. Maybe I should have worn something else. Maybe I should have waited to be told where to sit. Maybe I shouldn't have come at all. That last thought hurt the most. My daughter-in-law came once. Just once. She stood at the foot of the bed, purse still on her shoulder, keys in her hand, like she had somewhere else to be. "You scared everyone," she said. Her voice wasn't cruel. It wasn't kind either, just flat, like she was talking about traffic. "I'm sorry," I said automatically. She nodded. "Well, stress isn't good at your age." At your age, she didn't ask how I felt. She didn't touch my hand. She didn't sit down. When she left, the room felt emptier than before she came. When the doctor finally said I could go home, my son offered to drive me. "You shouldn't be alone right now," he said, "just until you're stronger." I almost laughed. I had been alone most of my adult life, widowed young, working jobs that didn't care if I was tired, raising children who grew up and moved on. But I nodded, because that's what I always did. The drive was quiet. The city passed by the window, familiar but distant, like a place I used to belong to. When we pulled up to my house, my chest tightened. Something felt wrong. The gate was closed. I never closed it. The porch light was on, even though it was daytime. The curtain in the front window wasn't mine. "Did you?" I started. "Oh," my son said quickly. "We tidied up a bit, just helping out." Helping out. Inside, the air smelled different, like a cleaner I didn't use. My shoes weren't by the door. The small table where I kept my keys was empty. I stood there, holding the wall, feeling like a guest in my own home. "That chair," I said quietly, pointing to the corner. "Where is it?" He hesitated, just a moment. "It was old," he said. "We threw it out. I loved that chair. I sat in it every morning. I watched the street from it. It knew my shape, but I didn't argue. I just nodded and walked further inside, slow and careful. In my bedroom, the drawers were too neat, straighter than I left them. Some things were missing. Small things, a scarf, an envelope. "Where's my blue box?" I asked. He rubbed his neck. "What box?" "The one with my papers, the one with my life." I sat on the bed, my legs shaking, and a quiet thought settled in me. Something had changed while I was gone, not just the house, not just the furniture, something deeper. And no one was telling me what it was yet. That first night back home, I didn't sleep. I lay on my back, staring up at the ceiling, listening to the house the way you do when something feels unfamiliar. Even though it's supposed to be yours, the ceiling fan clicked on every third turn. I don't remember it ever doing that before. Or maybe it always did. Maybe I just never listened this closely. I kept my hands folded on my stomach, afraid that if I moved too much, someone might come in and tell me I was doing it wrong. That thought surprised me. It didn't feel like mine. It felt planted. The room smelled clean, too clean, like someone had erased something. When morning came, it didn't feel like relief. It felt like being exposed. I got up slowly, holding onto the dresser. My legs were there, but they didn't fully trust me yet. Or maybe I didn't trust them. It's hard to tell which comes first. I walked into the kitchen. The little tin by the sink was gone. I stopped right there, just stood, looked at the empty spot like it might explain itself. That tin wasn't special to anyone else. It was old, dented. I'd had it for years. I kept cash in it, grocery money, a few folded bills, nothing impressive, just enough to make me feel like I wasn't asking permission every time I needed something. I opened the drawer next to the sink. Nothing. I checked the cabinet, then another, then my purse. Still nothing. "Well," I said out loud, trying to sound calm, "you must have moved it." My voice echoed in the kitchen. That bothered me more than it should have. I filled the kettle with water, then noticed it wasn't my kettle. The handle felt wrong. Too smooth, too light. I sat at the table with my tea and didn't drink it. I kept thinking about that tin, about how small it was, how easy it would have been to overlook, but I hadn't. Over the next few days, things kept feeling misplaced. My mail was already opened when it came. The calendar I kept on the wall was gone. The radio didn't work anymore, though it had been fine before. Each time I noticed something, I told myself not to make a fuss. People had helped while I was sick. Of course, things got moved around, but no one asked me where I wanted them. That part sat heavy. My son came by most afternoons. He was polite, kind, even, but distracted, always checking his phone, always standing instead of sitting. "Did you eat?" he'd ask. "Yes," I'd say. It was easier than explaining that the food didn't taste like mine. When I asked about the blue box, the one with my papers, he frowned slightly, like I was complicating something. "Mom, you don't need to worry about that anymore," he said. "We've taken care of it." I nodded, but my chest tightened. "I like knowing where my things are," I said. He smiled. The kind of smile you give someone when you're trying to be patient. "You should focus on resting," he said. Resting. That word started to bother me. A few days later, I decided to go to the bank. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want advice. I didn't want someone insisting on coming with me. I just wanted to sit across from a teller and hear my name said like it still meant something. The bus ride felt longer than usual. My legs shook when I stood, but I didn't ask for help. I held onto the rail and reminded myself that I'd done harder things than this. Inside the bank, everything smelled the same as it always had. Paper cleaner, something metallic. The young woman behind the counter typed my name into the computer and paused. "Oh," she said. That one sound was enough to make my stomach drop. "It looks like your account access was updated recently," she said. "Updated how?" I asked. She leaned closer to the screen. "There's a secondary authorization now." I already knew the answer before she said it. She told me my son's name. I nodded like this was normal, like it didn't matter. "No problem," I said quickly when she asked if everything was all right. Outside, I sat on a low wall and waited for my breathing to slow. Families help each other, I told myself. Children step in when parents get older. But there was a difference between help and being handled. And I was starting to feel handled. Back at home, I paid closer attention. My phone didn't always ring when someone called. Messages disappeared. Appointments were suddenly already taken care of. Once, I overheard my son on the phone in the kitchen. "She doesn't really understand these things anymore," he said quietly. I stopped in the hallway. He didn't know I was there. I went back to my room and sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, looking at my hands. These hands had paid bills, signed contracts, made decisions when no one else was around. And now, slowly, without asking me, my life was being rearranged. That evening, my sister called. "How are you really?" she asked. That question opened something. I told her about the missing things, the bank, the way my son spoke about me like I wasn't fully present. She went quiet. "Did you sign anything at the hospital?" she asked. My stomach dropped. I thought about the clipboard, the papers. The pen placed in my hand when I was tired, confused, grateful just to be alive. "I don't remember," I said. That scared me more than anything else so far. That night, after the house went quiet, I started looking. Slowly, carefully, like I didn't want to wake anyone, or maybe like I didn't want to wake the truth yet. In the back of the hall closet, behind coats that weren't mine, I found a folder. My name was written on it. Inside were copies of documents: power of attorney, medical permissions, financial authority, dated while I was unconscious. I sat on the floor with my back against the wall, the papers spread around me. I didn't cry. I just understood. This wasn't about care. It was about control, and they thought I wouldn't notice. If this story is touching you, pause for a moment and comment below. I put everything back exactly where I found it and went to bed. But something inside me had shifted. I wasn't confused anymore. I was awake. I didn't say anything the next morning, or the morning after that. I moved through the house the same way I had been. Slowly, carefully, like I was learning the shape of things again. I made tea with the wrong kettle. I sat in a chair that didn't quite fit my back. I nodded when my son asked if I was feeling better. "Yes," I said, but something inside me had settled. Not anger, not fear, clarity. That's the word that came to me when I stood at the sink one afternoon, watching the water run longer than it needed to. Clarity doesn't rush you. It waits. My son started making decisions out loud. "I rescheduled your doctor," he said one day, flipping through his phone. "I handled the electricity bill another day. We don't think it's a good idea for you to keep cash anymore." Each sentence was calm, reasonable, wrapped in concern, and each one landed a little heavier than the last. I noticed how often he used "we." I noticed how rarely he asked. My daughter-in-law still didn't come by, but she didn't need to. Her presence was everywhere. New groceries I didn't choose. Notes on the counter reminding me what not to do. Don't go out alone. Don't lift heavy things. Don't answer unknown calls. Each note felt small. Together, they felt like walls. One afternoon, when the house was quiet, I took the folder out again. I sat at the kitchen table with the sunlight coming through the window and read every page slowly. I didn't skim. I didn't rush. I traced my name with my finger, looked at the dates, the signatures. There was nothing dramatic about it. That was the hardest part. They hadn't stolen everything. They hadn't thrown me out. They had just tightened things. Slowly, carefully, like you do when you don't want something to struggle. I thought about the hospital, the clipboard, the way everyone spoke gently, like I was fragile glass. "Just sign here. It's standard. This is for your own good." I had believed them. I folded the papers and placed them back in the folder. Then I picked up the phone. Margaret answered on the second ring. "Well," she said, "you sound like yourself again." "I feel like myself again," I told her. She didn't laugh this time. I told her everything. The wedding, the hospital, the missing things, the documents. She listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said, "You know this doesn't have to stay this way." "Yes," I said, "I know." Saying it out loud made it real. I made an appointment a few days later. I didn't announce it. I didn't explain. I took a taxi and sat in a quiet office with someone who spoke carefully and didn't hurry me. I laid the papers out on the desk. "You signed these," he said gently. "But that doesn't mean you're stuck with them." That sentence felt like air after being underwater. After that, I started taking small things back. I moved the table closer to the window. I bought a kettle that felt right in my hand. I put my photographs back where I liked them. I didn't ask permission. When my son noticed, he hesitated. "Did you need help with that?" he asked. "No," I said. "I managed." He didn't argue, but he noticed. The conversation came later. Not planned, not loud. He sat across from me at the table one evening, hands folded, eyes tired. "You've been distant," he said. I waited. "We were just trying to help," he added. "I know," I said, "but helping isn't the same as deciding my life for me." I slid the folder across the table. "I want this changed," I said. "All of it." He stared at the papers for a long time. "You don't trust us?" he asked. I thought about the wedding, the hospital, the chair that disappeared. "I trust myself," I said. "That has to be enough." We didn't raise our voices. The strongest boundaries rarely need to. My daughter-in-law called later. Her voice was tight. "You're making things difficult," she said. "I'm making things clear," I replied. There was a long pause. Things didn't fix themselves overnight. Some paperwork took time. Some habits were harder to undo. Some feelings needed space. But slowly, things shifted. Not back to how they were, to something more honest. I still think about that moment at the wedding sometimes. Standing there, publicly corrected, publicly small. It hurt, but it also woke something in me. Not anger, not revenge, awareness. Getting older doesn't mean disappearing. Love doesn't give anyone the right to erase you. Quiet doesn't mean powerless. I sit in my house now, in my chair, with my kettle and my photographs and my name where it belongs. And when I look back, I don't think about what they tried to take. I think about what I kept. If this story moved you, subscribe to our channel. Support these stories so they reach those who need to hear them.